with that out of the way, let's go right ahead and talk about the Knicks going up 3-2 in the series. And I'm just adjusting the title right there. So yeah, you see the Knicks? You see those New York Knicks out there? I hope you saw them. I bet you did. They completely destroyed the Pacers at home. This was a completely different team. This Knicks team was a completely different team, and the Pacers team was also a completely different team. These two teams, they play very, very differently when they're away. And more so the Pacers than the Knicks, in my personal opinion. Like, the Knicks, they played really bad in Game 4, but that was really like the only game away where they played egregiously bad. And most of the time throughout all the playoffs this year, they've played very well away. Granted, the performance that they had away against Philly was influenced by the fact that there were so many Knicks fans in that crowd. So maybe that also had something to do with it. But this game right here, definitely a statement game coming in from the Knicks, saying, like, they responded perfectly to how the Pacers completely destroyed them and walked over them in Game 4. They were not going to take it lightly whatsoever. Jalen Brunson, he ended the game with 44 points, which, again, opens up the discussion for him being the best point guard in the NBA right now. I mean, 44 points is just absolutely insane. He was ridiculous in the fourth quarter as well. And really the entirety of this game was, looking at the recap of this game, the Knicks, they dominated the entirety of this game. There was not a single point where the Knicks scored less than the Pacers in any quarter. The Pacers also had a little bit of a stretch where they didn't score for 7 minutes. Now, given how high-powered and how potent their offense is, not scoring in 7 minutes is unacceptable if you are the Pacers. And this just goes back to what I've been saying about the Pacers and what I've said their big problem was in the playoffs, and that would be their defense. Because, like, they had no response on the offensive side of the ball. And when you don't have any response on the offensive side of the ball, you got to play some defense. And they just couldn't do that either. The final score was 121-91. So, again, the Knicks, they completely smacked them. Ran in just a perfect response to the Pacers smacking them in Game 4. And now they're up 3-2 in this series, which is the perfect position that the Knicks have to be in. And because if the Knicks would have gone down 3-2, I think it would have been... If the Knicks would have been the ones down 3-2, I think the series would have been over and would have ended in Game 6. But now they put themselves in a very good position to win this series in either 6 games or win it in 7, which is exactly what they needed. So, again, Pacers, they shot very, very poorly. Halliburton regressed back to the same Halliburton that was playing rather poorly compared to how he was playing in Game 3 and 4. All the Pacers, they play a lot better at home than they do away. And Halliburton, he had 13 points. Pascal Siakam had 22 points. Miles Turner had 16 points. And again, everybody shot. It's not like... Okay, I can't really say that they shot poorly, but their offense still wasn't as potent as we're used to seeing it. 12 for 27 from 3, that's 44%. And, 44% isn't bad. It just wasn't enough against the Knicks. And it's not like the Knicks shot any better from 3 either. They shot 12 for 35 from 3, but the biggest difference was the offensive rebounding for the Knicks. They had way more offensive rebounds in this game than the entirety of the Pacers team. Josh Hart, he ended the game with 11 rebounds, and Isaiah Hartenstein ended the game with 17 rebounds. And this is just how the Knicks play. Like, they're a very gritty and tough team to go up against. They will always go after the second chance points, and that really seems like that's been their offense throughout the entirety of the postseason. They take a shot, and then somebody gets a ridiculous offensive board, which leads to an open shot for somebody else because everybody else is either trying to crash or just not paying attention. Like, it's the fact that they continue to play through the game no matter what with heart, and you see what I did there with heart. And surprisingly, Hart actually sat on the bench for once. Like, that's very surprising. And it looks like Thibodeau is adjusting his rotations slightly because Alec Burks, he wasn't in the Knicks rotation before. And now here he is playing 23 minutes. Like, it really seems that Thibodeau is adjusting certain players and their minutes in the postseason because he realizes that it's not entirely working. Granted, Josh Hart is not opposed to playing 48 minutes. He said that before in countless interviews. He even said there was at one point where in an interview where he said all the people that are working full-time jobs, those are the real workers and we're just playing a game. And he gained a lot of respect from several different fans who actually hold these jobs and realize that Josh Hart is willing to play all the minutes in all of these games. Like, that's obviously going to earn you a lot of respect when you're playing in an era where load managing is a very huge thing, and a lot of the players would rather sit out and check on their health as opposed to playing huge minutes in a very crucial game for their team. Josh Hart is completely different from that. Regardless, Thibodeau is adjusting and fixing the rotations, and so far, I really like how he's adjusting these rotations. Granted, it might be because they were up by so much, but Alec Burks was playing in the previous game. Now, again, this might be influenced because both games resulted in blowouts. Therefore, whenever a team blows another team out, usually the coach brings in everybody coming off the bench. And we saw it in this game where some of the players that came off the bench, they never touched the court before, but they only played like about 3 minutes, aside from Precious and Alec Burks, who played 23 minutes. So the rotations, they're looking so much better, especially with Alec Burks in the rotation. He's a very competent scorer, and the Knicks definitely need someone else other than Brunson doing the scoring. I mean, Burks had 18 points and was 6 for 11 from the field. And DiVincenzo, while he is a pretty good option for the scoring, he's not as consistent as I'd hope for the Knicks. I mean, in this game, he shot 4 for 14 and had 8 points. But regardless, a win is a win is a win. So, doesn't matter how badly you played if you're on the Knicks. You won the game. End of story. Let's go Knicks. We love to see it. Bias aside, they played so good in this game. And it's their defense on the Pacers, it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. It was more so the Pacers missing a lot of shots and not scoring enough and not doing enough or not producing enough. And now the Knicks, they're up 3-2 in the series, and they're expected to go back to Indiana to play Game 6. We will shortly see the results of that game in a few days. I think the Knicks are going to close it out. I think the Knicks are going to close it out in Game 6, just like they closed out Philly in Game 6. And I understand that they got blown out really badly in Game 4. But they did not play that bad in Game 3 when they were also in Indiana. It took a ridiculous step-back three-pointer for the Pacers to win that game. A 1 in a million shot of going in. It took that for the Pacers to win that game. And it's not like the Knicks played poorly in that game either. They played just as good as the Pacers did. It just came down to that final shot that determined the game. And when I think about that, I just think that, they just had a really bad game in Game 4. And the Pacers were just really good in Game 4. And that happens. Now, it's not a consistent thing, given how in Game 3 the game was really, really close and it came down to a ridiculous step-back three to win the game. But that's all I have to say about this game and the Knicks and the series. Hopefully we'll see the Knicks win in Game 6. Let's go Knicks. And with that, we are out of time for this first segment. So now I'll go ahead and go into the second segment where I talk about the Nuggets and the Timberwolves in their playoff series. So I will be right back after this short break.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown. Get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in